Bajo gran espíritu del cielo, la tierra, a todos los abuelos que nos acompañan. Pedí asistencia a todos los guardianes de la medicina.
A trip to Chile's high desert is the perfect excuse to hang with someone like Magdalena. She's a shaman who, for a reasonable fee, offers up a soul cleanse. Your spirit is healed as your brain melts.
Time is an illusion. You know that. We all know.
After the ceremonial stripping of the gringo, and whatever this is, Magdalena forces me to drink an ungodly amount of water.
You will start a new relation with water, so you will be clean.
Okay.
Then, she burns me. Into my wounds, she pours something called kambo, which is a secretion that comes from a very poisonous Amazonian tree frog.
It's done. Don't expect anything.
Okay.
Just be here. Time is an illusion. Water is life.
And that's when the frog juice really kicked in. There was the desert. It was cruel, and then it was kind. There were huge telescopes nestled up against the heavens. There were strange, gurgling pools full of minerals. There was a bustling city and a chair I could control with my mind. It was a grand vision of what Chile had to offer and what needed to be explored. Or something like that.
Are you still up?
Yeah. Silicon Valley may be home to some of the biggest tech giants in the world, but it's being challenged like never before. Crazy tech geniuses have popped up all over the planet, making things that will blow your mind. My name is Ashlee Vance. I'm an author and journalist, and I'm on a quest to find the most innovative tech creations and meet the beautiful freaks behind them. Hello, world. Science says that the Atacama Desert is the driest place in the world. Some parts of the desert go hundreds of years with no rain at all. The desert plateau is about 10,000 feet above sea level. The days run extremely hot, and the nights get extremely cold. It turns out that this hellscape is the perfect place to build a telescope. Between the high altitude and the lack of moisture in the air, the view of the stars is practically unobstructed. I'm heading for the Atacama Large Millimeter Array, aka Alma, the largest astronomical project in the world. But before I go, there's something I have to do. I hate going to the doctor, but this is step one of the journey to see the giant telescopes. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Alma's telescopes sit at nearly 17,000 feet. At that altitude, bad things can happen to the human body, like swelling of the brain. So before you visit, you have to prove that you have the necessary constitution. Since I've spent the past year eating and drinking as I travel the world, it's unlikely that I will pass these tests, so wish me luck. Surprisingly enough,
He's ready to go to enjoy Alma.
I pass. It's off to the high desert. So we're just 500 meters now from the top of the site. You're only allowed to stay at 5,000 meters for about 2 hours. I do feel a little bit lightheaded already. Up here, it's cold, windy, and incredibly hard to breathe. You feel weird in the head, and that sort of adds to the poetry of the place. There are dozens of telescopes, and it cost $1.4 billion to build them all here in the middle of nowhere, with the United States, Japan, and Europe footing most of the bill. And for that kind of money, they didn't just get a garden variety optical telescope. They got something special. I tracked down Alma's kindly head mechanic, Fabiola, to get a better understanding of how this place works. When you're in Santiago and you go out to dinner with somebody, how do you explain to them how the telescope works?
Okay, with an optic telescope, you look on the sky, and that's what you see.
Yeah.
With Alma, whatever you don't see with your eyes, whatever is black, that is a lot, you see with Alma.
Alma sees in what's known as the millimeter range of the electromagnetic spectrum, far beyond the visible range seen by optical telescopes and the human eye. Armed with this superhuman vision, Alma can unveil all kinds of magical stuff in the universe that would have been invisible before. To get an idea of what wonders Alma is finding in space, I went to the control center, where I met this very tall man.
At one time, when I was in graduate school, I was supposedly the tallest astronomer who had ever lived. The younger generation, though, is taller, so I'm not sure that's still true.
Richard Simon and his fellow astronomers are using Alma to look for the origins of stars, life, and the universe itself. With Alma, they're able to see the cosmos in more detail than ever before. When I was looking at the work that you guys do, you could spot even a sugar molecule near a star that's somewhere off in the Milky Way.
We can detect all kinds of different molecules. Think of Alma as a huge chemical sniffer. So we can start to understand how stars form, how planets form. How did we wind up with water to support life?
The surreal images Alma creates have revealed Earth-like exoplanets, a comet nursery, and galaxies at the edge of the known universe. In the not-so-distant future, they could also help answer the question of whether we're not alone.
One of the small moons of Saturn, Enceladus, has geysers of water vapor and other materials coming out. And it's possible with Alma to actually look at that and try to see some of the chemistry that's going on. What is inside that moon? What is blasting out into space? Are there complicated organic molecules? I suspect that we will learn a lot more about the chemistry of life and the possibilities for life in very strange places, even here in our own solar system.
If Alma is an astronomer's dream come true, it's also a normal person's worst nightmare. To keep the telescopes running 24 hours a day, Almanians take turns sleeping in these tiny, depressing rooms, where they have to live on site for 8 days at a time. Between the thin atmosphere, close quarters, and isolation, it's not unlike living on Mars. Head engineer Serge Gunya has been here for 2.5 years, and he's seen firsthand the emotional and physical toll this place can take.
It's much more than just working together. You're really on the same boat. If you're looking for a quiet job with your family, going every evening back home, you do not choose this kind of jobs.
What does your body feel like after doing this for a couple of years?
It's a price to pay.
Yeah.
It's not a very healthy altitude. Your judgment is heavily altered, and you have to be extremely careful.
Actually, we have an issue last month. One of the guys were working, and he kind of forgot everything. So we immediately bring to the hospital to get checked his brain and everything. He was okay, but we don't understand what happened to him. He was like, who are you?
It's gotta be frightening.
Yeah, it was scary.
You have really to like it. I mean, why do you practice mountaineering?
Yeah.
Why putting yourself in danger or yourself in a very uncomfortable position? For what? So the profile of the guys is a little bit special. Strong characters generally, and people motivated by things which are a little bit different.
As an astronomer, I still have my sense of wonder when I walk outside like I did last night and see the stars here, and we're in the Atacama Desert, so they're really bright and close. It blows me away. And at the same time, I'm fortunate to be able to see the detailed science that goes on as we tease out the secrets of the universe. It's hard to predict what unexpected things we will see in these distant galaxies. The universe that we see is stranger than we can imagine.
Traversing Chile's high desert is tough. A task for vicuñas, not humans. And there are plenty of reminders of just how hostile this land is. When you come to the Atacama Desert, one of the things that you just can't miss are these sort of beautiful shrines that are all across the road. They're tributes to people who have died. Driving on the highway, the long stretches of road, the altitude takes its toll on people. The man that died here was 29 years old. Some people survive either by the grace of God or through dumb luck. Like these two dudes who drove their truck off the road. What were you guys doing out here?
Una mala suerte, se podría decir, porque estaban que regresamos y acá mi amigo se quedó dormido, ¿no?
It's not all near-death experiences and sadness out here. There's big tech and big fun to be had as well. And to find the fun, you just need to look for the oasis, the town of San Pedro de Atacama. This is one of the world's most remote tourist hotspots. A magnet for dirty hippies and chilled-out dogs. Why would anyone choose to vacation at 8,000 feet in the desert? Well, there are glorious geysers that demand to be roamed. There are sand dunes to surf. And there are huge watering holes that no one can explain. Oddly enough, there's big business out in the Atacama too. More solar radiation reaches this desert than anywhere else in the world. This makes it the perfect place to build massive solar panel farms. If you stop by for a visit, they'll put you to work washing the panels. How's my technique? It's good? The tricky thing about solar energy is that it needs to be stored. Like that. And the Atacama happens to have an answer for that too. Chile is one of the world's leading producers of lithium, the stuff that goes into all of our smartphone, laptop, and electric car batteries. And to see how lithium is pulled from the earth, I went to visit the operations of the mining giant SQM.
Hello, Ashlee. How are you doing? Finally here.
My guide through the mines is Alejandro Bucher. He's a cheerful engineer who has spent years working in the Great Void.
When I think of something like a lithium-ion battery in a laptop or even a Tesla with thousands of batteries, it's what, like a spoonful of lithium that would go into those batteries?
You would say in an iPad or in a cell phone, you could have something like a spoonful. In a car, you could have maybe 10 to 15 kilos of lithium.
It's the nearby Andes Mountains that make these mines possible. Over millions of years, minerals from the mountains leach into the ground. Then they collect together and form huge salt beds, rich in lithium, sulfate, potassium, and boron. Companies like SQM pump water up through the beds and store the mineral-rich liquid in large ponds. From there, it's up to the sun to do its thing and evaporate away the water, leaving the minerals and salt behind. And nowhere evaporates better than Chile.
Now we are heading for the first part of the pond operation.
There's a lot of ponds. Those are pretty.
As this is the first pond, you can see the salts forming in the surface.
You got salt parking spaces. Yeah, it's gotta be crazy because you already have the harsh heat and cold, and then you have all this salt just blowing around everything.
These pickup trucks suffer a lot, but the other equipment, we made them from a special steel that really works good here. And now we're moving to the lithium ponds that are only 2 of the 44 million square meters that we have here. This pond, we made it so we can experience what is the lithium brine. When we have it in the big ponds, we cannot sample it. So we made this little pond.
What exactly is this stuff?
This is magnesium chloride. Magnesium chloride is the magnesium that we need to get rid of for being able to produce the lithium in the plant.
Okay.
Yeah. We will only send on the track the liquid.
Just the liquid?
Just the liquid.
Okay, so this is lithium. What are the odds that some part of this is in my smartphone?
I couldn't guarantee it, but it's pretty sure that almost 100% sure that part of your smartphone went through this pond at some point in the past.
At some point. This is smartphone juice.
Yeah.
You guys must be excited that Teslas are selling well and that everybody's getting into electric cars now.
It's very interesting, but it puts a lot of pressure on us. So we will more than double our capacity probably in 4 years.
Chile may have the largest lithium deposits in the world, but it started to fall behind countries like Australia and China when it comes to production. And in China, it's a one-stop shop with the mining and battery production happening together. This is a leap Chilean companies have been unwilling to take.
Maybe you could make the batteries here in Chile.
Well, for me, it would be excellent, but the company, we're experts in hydrogeology, we're experts in mining, we're experts in producing lithium. If we put us to produce batteries, we're probably not going to do it well.
Things have been extra tense lately between the mines and the Chilean government. The feds have put strict quotas on lithium production, and they've also been trying to act tough and save face after some politicos were accused of taking bribes from the mines. Environmentalists aren't huge fans of the mines either. They say that water is being sucked from nearby lagoons that feed these flocks of stunning flamingos.
What we do here has absolutely no impact to the flamingos, but we're still responsible for what's happening with them. We need to do counting of the flamingos every year. They identify them by the feathers on the tail, so they can differentiate every flamingo.
The miners here work for a week and then take a week off because of the dry, hot, salty conditions. But there are some on-the-job perks.
The sunsets here are every day amazing. You have all these different colors that only women know, the names, every day, and you don't get tired of that. It's really beautiful.
Alejandro has a point. Not so much about the colors that only women apparently know, but about the beauty of the mines. These odd marvels make the modern world run. Let Tesla's flamingo breeding program begin. After spending a day being caked in salt, I returned to San Pedro de Atacama, feeling a kinship with cured meats everywhere. Speaking of meat, this was my chance to dine on Llama tacos. Or Llama, if you want to sound slightly less like a gringo.
Gonna eat a Llama taco. Looks good. It's got all this delicious sauce in here. I think that Llama tacos are gonna be the next big thing in Silicon Valley, for sure.
Chileans like to hold Santiago up as a symbol of everything they've done right. It's orderly and prosperous. And there's all that you would want from a capital city clinging to the bottom of the globe. Sure, you can get roped into the occasional kari-kari. But here they say it's more refined. And nothing says refinement like a foot-long coney.
Mayonnaise, definitely a questionable choice.
This capital, built with mineral wealth and struggling with its fallout, is looking for new ways to survive in a changing environment.
Hoy en día, tú te encuentras con que el cambio climático en Chile al menos ha afectado la condición natural de obtención de agua. Las lluvias se han ido desplazando y esa agua de calidad ya no la encuentras en forma natural.
So, Héctor Pino figured out how to make water from air with the touch of a button. Héctor made a fortune as an engineer, but now works full-time on his freshwater system.
What propelled you to think up this project?
La enfermedad de mi hija. Ella nació con un mal congénito a los riñones. Investigando en este mundo de las tecnologías, vimos que había una tecnología militar que se utiliza en tanques submarinos de producir agua purificada de calidad. Y esa tecnología, pero que está en un mundo muy industrializado, llevarlo a un formato doméstico para que mi hija pudiera acceder a esa agua que le mantuviera la zona sana.
So you use this machine at home?
Yes.
Okay, and your daughter uses this every day?
They complete my family. Una niña de 17 años que tiene una vida normal.
Héctor sees this technology having uses far beyond his family. His freshwater machine feeds off humidity in the air. It pulls in water particles through a vent and then basically forms a rain cloud inside the machine. A series of filters purify the water, collect it, and then pristine H2O flows out of the faucet.
So I can drink it.
Yeah.
Yo bebo.
Yeah. Atrévete. It's no problem.
Muy delicioso.
Agua del aire.
Yeah.
Right now, one magic water machine costs about $1,600, but he wants to shrink the price and its size to something like a backpack. As he perfects the design, he's installed his machines in Chile's dry north.
Y lo que estamos haciendo ahora, estamos midiendo el impacto, porque una cosa es instalar la tecnología, pero lo otro es saber, bueno, ¿sirvió? ¿Cuál fue la consecuencia? Y ese impacto sociológico y económico es el que estamos midiendo para poder nosotros escalar hacia otros países y mostrar estos buenos resultados.
Hector distilled the idea for freshwater inside an incubator, funded by some of Santiago's wealthiest people. It's called the Idea Factory, or IF, for those into the whole brevity thing. They support tech with a do-gooder bent. Politicians stop by to schmooze. Kids get a chance to learn. It's not a factory designed to build the next Google or Facebook. IF focuses on things for Chile and South America. And they've got hyper-local branches hidden in unexpected corners of Santiago.
There are tech incubators all over the world, but you won't find many in a neighborhood like this. IF has another building here that's been set up to inspire local youngsters and give budding inventors a helping hand.
Here in Recoleta, things are a bit more lively than in Palo Alto. And it suits the place. I showed up on a demo day when kids from the neighborhood pour through the gates to check out IF's gadgets. There was plenty of eye candy, but nothing beat this.
Hello, robots.
It's like every other video conferencing robot on a stick, but this one is basically lethal.
That's so cool.
All of the gadgets come from this man, Rodrigo Quevedo. He's something of a local celebrity and has Kanye West levels of passion.
Con el mismo esfuerzo, con el mismo corazón, con la misma inteligencia, hagamos algo pero que sea para todo el mundo. Entonces, ¿a quién ayudamos? ¿A quién ayudamos? ¿Quiénes son los que más necesitan? Los que no se pueden mover, los que no mueven brazos y piernas. Bueno, hagamos algo para que se muevan. ¿Qué hacemos? Con señales cerebrales. ¡Ya!
Rodrigo was an officer in the Chilean army and then an engineer until he had a revelation and became a robotics entrepreneur. His most inspired invention is this wheelchair. People can control it by tilting their head or making a gesture. Soon, Rodrigo hopes it'll move by thought alone, by reading impulses from a brainwave monitor.
Ahora, ¿quieres probar la silla?
Sí, sí, sí.
Bienvenido. Ahora estamos haciendo todo mucho más pequeño y este es el primer modelo funcional.
Rodrigo's helpers were surprisingly gentle as they gave me the power of telekinesis.
Y para encender el sistema, hace uno.
That's how I turn it on?
Sí.
3 blinks.
Así.
Oh, it's like a genie.
Fuerte. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God.
Hacia atrás. Hacia atrás. Hacia atrás.
That's crazy. It's amazing.
Es fácil.
With great power comes great hunger. And superheroes need superfood. And for that, I had to travel an hour outside Santiago to the San Bernardo region in Chile's world-famous wine country. Put down that acai, goji, mangosteen kombucha and say hello to Mackie Berry.
Maqui has been around for centuries. It's a super berry. The native people of the Mapuche tribes have known this for centuries.
This is my friend, Boris Yermas. He's the owner of South Am Freeze Dry, where, you guessed it, they freeze dry and package tasty fruits and vegetables, including the Mackie berry.
When the superfood searchers and the scientists discovered the Mackie, what were the properties that they discovered compared to other superfoods?
They realized that Maqui has a very, very high antioxidant count, which is just, really off the charts.
To see how the maki makes its way from the tree to an overpriced cleanse, Boris took me on a tour of the factory.
So we're about to go into the actual food part.
And we need to suit up.
After transforming into two very hip lunch ladies, it was time to go inside.
All right, we're looking good.
And we're set, man.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
This way.
Okay.
This is where the process starts. We freeze it in a previous facility. It's brought here. So we need to raise the temperature a bit, wash it, take out, sort all the leaves, the twigs, everything.
After the berries warm up, they need to get cold again. So they're wheeled into a giant freezer. After a few hours, they're then wheeled into what's called the freeze tunnel, where they stay for about 24 hours, as the tunnel sucks away all of their moisture.
You basically create, on a very large scale, a high vacuum. The water crystal in the food goes from solid into gas state without going through the liquid state, preserving the nutritional value of the food.
But Boris didn't invent this process. Far from it.
You obviously have all this modern equipment, but you were saying in South America, some of these techniques actually go back hundreds of years.
It is said that the Incas discovered a way to freeze dry the fruit, given the high altitude in the mountains that would have a lighted pressure because of the atmosphere, which is what basically we do with the tunnels, and you have extreme changes of temperature. And then back in the 50s, NASA refined the process to create what is known today as astronaut food, which is used in all sorts of things.
Finally, it was time for the most important step. The taste test.
We have here maki berry, blueberry, pineapple, and banana powder to prepare a smoothie in your honor. You see how the purple overcomes everything. So let's give it a try, man.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Salud. It's delicious,
nice.
man. Look at our lips. It looks like lipstick.
That's a nice color on you.
I mean, I saw the value in freeze-drying the food because it is fun. It's crunchy. It's different to what you had. It does look like you consume a lot of water when you could just pluck something off a tree.
We try to be efficient with it. Basically, what you're taking out is the water that the produce itself has. We recycle that water, heating the tunnels with warm water. We've tried to make it efficient with the microturbines. So we try to balance it all and keep our carbon path low.
Boris has already started selling the maki powder around the world for use in smoothies and supplements. May we all have purple lips and live forever. Chile will always have a special place in my subconscious. When I close my eyes at night, I can still hear my shaman Magdalena singing and see her desert compound. She scarred me. But you know, in a good way. Of all my trips around the world this year, this one was a proper adventure. There's a mystical quality to Chile, and it only gets more profound as your body dries out and your brain loses oxygen. As for the tech, Chile has the big stuff down. It has embraced the weirdness of the land and tried to make the most out of it. If the startups in Santiago can tap into that same spirit, then Chile has a bright future ahead. Either that, or the poison really got to me.